Howdy, howdy, everybody. So this is a video that I have tried to upload, remake, and then re-upload. And every time I do that, it seems like I have been basically been cock blocked by AI, specifically with the UFC. I know the UFC has one of the craziest copyright laws, and it's just been really tough to make this video because I did talk about the UFC and I showed a couple clips, and the UFC is not letting me upload it. It's specifically the UFC, so I'll just try and get through this stuff. I've taken out all the clips. I'll try and put in and like fill in the gaps of where I had those clips and kind of just give you a little bit of a background, but uh, for the most part, this is the best I can do, guys. Hopefully, this one lets me get it uploaded, and we'll get on to the video. And to kick us off, we got UFC 328, which was Chimaev versus Strickland. Now, I personally only watched this one. I did not watch the UFC Fight Night with Alan and Costa, which happened, I believe, on the 17th or the 16th. But I did watch this one. Volkov, I mean, I don't think he did anything to lose. I really don't think he did anything to win either. I think Cortez Acosta, he realized towards the end of his fight that he was probably not going to win. So he started coming out and started really swinging. And that's whenever you just saw Volkov just kind of going around and kind of like pushing punches out the way. He was giving his little jabs and he was just making sure that he wasn't going to lose. And of course, he got the nod whenever it came to the decision. Then it came into the belt fights, and following up, the first belt fight was Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira, and this was a bloodbath. Truly one sided. I think Joshua Van, really put a hurt on this guy. But Taira, man, he just kept coming back. Didn't matter how many times he was getting hit in his head and all that. I mean, he wouldn't stop. So basically, right here, I start talking about Joshua Van and Tyra in their fight. Basically, what I saw throughout that fight was Tyra, even though they kept talking about how he went to study up with some striker who was going to help him with his striking, it didn't look that way. His hands were low the whole time. He kept getting hit in the face. And Joshua Van is a hell of a striker, and you just can't stand up with that guy if you're not even, in the same ballpark. And Joshua Van was 10 times the boxer. I mean, I should say just 10 times the fighter than he was in this match. Kind of shows the disparity between the champion being Joshua Van and then Tyra being the number three. Um, but in this fight, we specifically see him just Tyra specifically taking a beating. In the third round, he gets knocked down, and what I would assume to be, a, a calling of the fight, and they didn't, and they let it fight on. I'm thinking, as a just a general fan, is they're going to allow this to be a championship fight. Hey, brother, this is a big deal. Like, this is a 5 round fight. You want to go for the title, you have to go fight. Like, this is all what championship fights are about. So then they go into the fourth round. Van was, I think, in complete control of the fight. Tyra was still throwing his wrestling takedowns, and he wanted that fight. He was gonna fight through. He was gonna battle. He's gonna battle, and he's gonna battle. And then you lead into the fifth round, and the fifth round is just where I feel like the brakes fell off. The facade of this whole fight, what has happened in the first 4 rounds leading up to this point, really was on display in the fifth round. Van came out there, he started beating his ass again. He was punching him, punching him, punching him, and Tyra was just not going to go down. And you could tell that he was gonna go all 5 minutes. Like, I mean, come hell or high water, he was gonna go all 5 minutes. Um, And me personally, I think this is whenever Dana White was like, "Hey, let's go ahead, let's call it okay." On the next time that you see Tyra get knocked down pretty bad, and you feel like, he's gonna have some sort of stagger or whatever, go ahead and call it. So if you go back and you look, because I'm not gonna show it because UFC's not gonna let me. But if you go back and you watch that fight and you see the knockdown where they do call it in the fifth round, and then go back and see that knockdown in the third round, it's almost a spitting image of what they were. I mean, Van knocks him out, like gives him a full combo. He falls down to his knee and his hand, like he's not really covering, and Van has the ability to punch him. But you can just see the way that both of those instances were called were just different. So it's my personal opinion that they made this call, specifically Dana White made this call, because it just doesn't make any sense why it would be okay to officiate it one way in the third round and then to officiate it differently in the fifth round. It doesn't make any sense. You got to let these guys go be champions of the, like to him, he feels like he disappointed his homeland. Like these are guys from warrior cultures. Look, Joshua Van, I believe, is Southeast Asian. I want to say Malaysian. I don't want to be wrong about that. And then you have Tyra, who's of course Japanese. Most of these fighters who come from these war cultures do not like it whenever someone like a referee interferes with these fights. It's unfair to them. I don't think this was something that I believe the refs really wanted to do. My own personal opinion, I think Dana White was like, no, let's go ahead and call this. We've shown enough. He's shown his heart. He's just not at the striking level of Van. Let's go ahead and let the next knockdown he gets, let's call it, and let's talk to him and say, hey man, you need to get back in the gym. And if that was the case, right, I think a lot more people would like feel better about it, especially me. But whenever watching this live, I was furious. I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, this is a guy who wants to finish this fight. Let him. And the title fight of this card being Chimaev versus Strickland. This was something that a lot of people played up, and of course, as UFC does, it kind of puts a little bit of the political into what is essentially war. I mean, you got to think the UFC is controlled warfare. And if they can bring in, someone who is unapologetically patriotic as Sean Strickland, and they can put them up against, a Stan country and, have those two guys kind of go at it, it's great television that they market. But this fight was riddled in with controversy from the very beginning. I won't go to all the pressers. I won't talk about all that kind of stuff because, that's them trying to sell the fight. I'm not really big on that. But what I want to talk about is what we know about the fight. And what do we know about this fight is Chimaev did not make weight. All right, we know that. Anybody who saw the weighing of Chimaev knows that he didn't make weight. All right, that's not how any fighting enterprise should be conducting their weigh-ins. He gets on the scale, it bounces up and down, it doesn't settle. If anything, it was moving to where he was not going to make weight, and they called it right then, and they were like, "Yep, you're good," and then he just steps off. It's complete BS. You have people like this fighter here. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he makes this video and he talks about how he's made weight his entire career, and we'll just let him talk.
I've been making weight since I was 17 years old. I'm almost 32 now. It's almost been 15 years. I know what it looks like when
Look
somebody
at it.
makes that
Y'all
weight.
see
They have
that?
to stand completely still. It's like when somebody
Hold
makes.
on, hold on. I'll go back. I'll go back. Y'all see here down at the bottom. I don't have my cursor on this for some odd reason, but look here at the bottom where the scale is. Watch how it's moving.
Years. I know what it looks like when somebody makes that weight. They have to stand completely still.
He didn't make that weight. He didn't make that weight. I'll go ahead and tell you right now.
The little thingy bob on the scale, it has to balance. That dude didn't make that weight. There's no convincing me, bro.
Yep, there's no convincing anybody. I mean, anybody who watched this weigh-in said that he didn't make weight. The only people who are saying that he didn't make weight are the people in his camp. So going back to this is Bryce Mitchell. I blanked on his name in that last clip, but Sean Strickland even gave his own 2 cents on this situation. Where I mean, and he's completely right. I think anybody who is going into this fight is understands that there are rules.
I mean, the guy's just a fucking bitch. Like, he didn't make weight. We all seen it. Like, no one in the world believes you made weight. I would have fought him regardless. But like, the entire world knows, like, you didn't fucking make weight. Like, it's honestly, bro. I expect nothing less from a coward. Bitch.
Yeah. So these guys, I mean, anybody who saw that knows he didn't make weight. But you know, they're just gonna let it go on because of, and this is where I'm trying to get to. And it's not until May 12th, 2026, do they come out and even say that. Yeah, I mean, even Chimaev's brother has acknowledged that, you know, in the cut his body shut down, which again is okay. If they come out and say, hey, Chimaev is overweight, he's not going to make weight, he'll give up his part, like some of the purse or whatever, in order to keep the fight going. Okay, it would have been completely different, but of course they don't. They're just gonna run it. Oh no, he made weight. Like, shut up. No, he didn't. It was very anticlimactic. I mean, for as much shit as both of them talked, as much as they sold this fight did not live up to what it was. Like Joshua Van, that fight was dope, and to go from that fight to this one, it was a letdown. I mean, and again, anytime Chimaev is headlighting a fight, stop it before he gets on the mat, because what he's going to do is he's going to do the Dagestani thing. He's going to come up to you. He's going to kind of push you into what in Strickland's side was calling it. Hey, he's going to push you to the line near the cage, and he's just going to, you know, shoot. And he's going to try to take your back, and he's just going to sit there, and he's going to wear on you, and he's going to get you in some holds, and he's going to try to hold you. But the whole time he's just forcing you to struggle. And it's not a fun way to watch the game, but it's technically sound, and it wins fights because once he gets you in that position, he can control, you know, basically the way the game is played. I mean, you see it in the NBA, which we'll talk about it here in a second, on how some of these teams, they, you know, cause, you know, fouls and, you know, free throws to get their points. You see it in the NFL, where some teams, they pull on these penalties, or to even give a better example, it's like someone running the wing T offense. For all my ball knowers, the wing T offense is ridiculous to play against. It's a ridiculous style of offense. That's how the Dagestani people wrestle. That's how they fight. Like, that's their whole culture, is we're just going to wrestle you and we're going to control clock. Started off the first few rounds, they were doing a lot of wrestling. Chimaev was trying to take him down a lot of times, and he did, but he was very unsuccessful with his wrestling and things like that. And with a title belt on the line, that's how you defend it. I mean, you just run out the clock. Like, Strickland has to go out there and beat you, right? So it doesn't make sense for you to do anything that Strickland is good at. After the first 2 rounds, Chimaev decided to stop wrestling. Like, he would try every now and then, and once he realized that Strickland was defending his wrestling, he was like, oh, whatever. You know, he could have just kept wrestling him, which he's done his entire career. But he decided, I'm just going to stand up and I'm just going to get my face beat in. And I mean, they were both throwing jabs. I mean, Strickland looked like crap afterwards. But I mean, the whole deal is, you don't stand up against a person who actually, you know, strikes. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, and the split here was it was the video of you know, Strickland winning, Chimaev and them, you know, they're bowing, showing each other respects. Chimaev goes over there and puts the belt on him. Chimaev comes over here and puts the belt on him. Fuck that. I am not about that. Fuck you and everything you stand for. Me and you, if we're fighting like that and we're talking about things like the way that they were talking, they're calling each other cowards and stuff. Fuck that shit. And the whole reason I bring all this stuff up is because it felt like this fight had already been decided. Mostly because Dana White comes out immediately after the fight and talks about how Chimaev wants to move up. He wants to move up from middleweight to light heavy, right? But there's a problem with that. It's the fact that he is the middleweight champion. He has to defend his belt, and he can't move up to light heavy if he's a middleweight champion. You have to vacate the belt before you move up. If he wants to actually truly move up the way he did before, like if he wants to truly move up, you move up, not a lot of people can hold two belts in two weight classes. That's why people like Conor McGregor and, the other people who have done that, they're freaks. They're different, right? So if Chimaev was already in the thought process of moving up, why would they care if he missed weight, right? Why would they care? I mean, why wouldn't he just stand up and take all the abuse from Sean Strickland? Why not? Like you at least have to put on paper and prove that Sean Strickland won that fight. Right? Like if it shows that, hey, the Dagestani wrestler held him on the ground for 4.5 minutes, other than the few 30 seconds they were up and hitting, which has been Chimaev's whole career, he doesn't vacate that belt. But you know what? Who does is if Strickland comes in, takes the belt from him, and then he can give out a championship fight to whoever, and Strickland will go out there and fight him, but he's not afraid to lose. Like that's the whole point. Chimaev really can't lose unless it's a person like Sean Strickland, because Sean Strickland has equity in the UFC. I mean, this dude has been, one of the faces of the entire UFC throughout this entirety. And Chimaev is just not really liked by United States, which is like the main people who watch the UFC. And why would you continue to have someone who is unliked be the belt holder whenever they obviously want to move up? And Strickland, who is a heavy favorite out here, you can put him on whatever card ever and he's going to sell that thing. So, I mean, it just makes total sense. We'll hear it from Dana White himself, though.
He literally walked up to me after the fight and said, I want to move up.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight in this weight class anymore. Him moving up is exciting.
So him coming to him after the fight, I don't think it was after the fight. It was definitely before the fight. It's my own personal opinion, but who knows? And here's another thing about this whole fight thing that sucks is sports gambling. I mean, it came out that two men, apparently committed suicide because they took out loans or, they sold personal belongings in order to put all their money on Chimaev because Chimaev was the heavy favorite. I mean, his style of wrestling out somebody in a fight is very hard to beat, and you have to be the better wrestler, and Strickland was not the better wrestler. And this is the whole point of what I have to say in pushing this narrative. Right, so after that fight, a lot of people were talking about the UFC. A lot of people were talking about kind of the controversy. Some people saw what I saw. They were kind of grilling Dana White. And something that the circus, and I say circus, whenever I say circus, I mean like any professional sports league, as well as anybody who covers those said professional sport leagues. So we're talking about NFL, NBA, UFC, MLB, FIFA. I mean, of course, the ESPNs of the world, the athletics, anybody who's a part of a propaganda machine, in my opinion, which is sports. They're a part of the circus. And one thing that the circus hates is whenever truth or true reporting or true journalism is done. So whenever you have a lot of people talking specifically about the situation that happened with this fight, then Dana White comes out and announces this, slate of fights, which is going to be on July 11th. So let's hear him out.
Break the International Fight Week card for you. Stevenson versus Ellison. Royval versus Kavanaugh.
I believe Kavanaugh is a really good up and comer. I think he is a rising star. I believe. I'm not too familiar with the game, but I do believe that.
Sandhagen versus Batista.
This is going to be a brawler of a fight. This is the number 4 and the number 8 fighter. This is going to be a really good fight to watch.
BSD versus Paddy Pimblett.
2 guys again, good fighters. This is looking like a really good card.
July 11th, International Fight Week.
And who we got
And the
headlining?
main event, Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor.
They broke out old reliable. Let's get Conor McGregor and fighting Max Holloway again. Yeah, it's insane. I'm not a fan. You know, again, these are 2 guys, heavy names, man. I love watching these guys fight. Like Holloway versus Gaethje, an amazing fight, series that they did. Conor McGregor and Holloway, I believe they fought twice before already. This is gonna be the 3rd fight that they're gonna get. This is awesome. Should be, at least. Conor McGregor's washed. Man, Conor McGregor is not gonna come out there and fight the same way he did. Max Holloway, he can still throw bows, but these are not the same fighters that they were 7 years ago. I mean, fuck, 7 years ago. You know, even during COVID, I would have liked to see this fight during like the COVID time, but where they're at now in both of their careers and what they're doing, I just don't believe this is a headline fight, especially whenever you have other guys who are deserving of that headline fight. And again, guys, you know, thank you for swinging by. Sorry that, you know, this isn't really the best flow of a video, but hey, it's the best I could do, and I really wanted to push this stuff out. So thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, leave a comment, and you guys have a blessed one.